Hello, Japadians. Welcome back to Akomolafe Family Channel. This is Bumi Akomolafe. So, those who have been following me for a very long time, like since almost right from the beginning, would be able to tell that this is the background they are quite familiar with. So, I remember back to my corner where I originally started and where I did my videos. And it feels so weird, like coming back to the UK. It was a very stressful journey, but it was fun because I was the only one who came with 3 kids. And having 2 kids under 5, you can imagine how difficult that would be on 2 flights. We thank God for Johnny Mercies. It feels so good to be back in the UK. And it feels so good to see my 2 other children and my husband who I've not seen in the last 3, 4 months. And stepping out of that airport, it was very cold, but it was soothing because I didn't even wear a jacket, you know, and the cardigan that I brought with me, I didn't even wear that as well. And that's how soothing the cold was. Everybody was like suited up, like wearing their jackets. And I think it was just like kind of a big relief to be out of the heat in Lagos for a while, stepping into a zone where everywhere is so cold and cool. Even my son was like, oh, it feels good to be back in the cold. But then I haven't stayed now 2 days. Then you start to, you start to feel that cold again and you start to like get fed up, with it. I've actually come to quickly do my video because by 4 o'clock now, the time is just past 3, it's starting to get dark. So by 4 o'clock now, it's going to be very dark. And I like to use as much natural light as I can to do my videos. Yeah, so this part of the journey is something I've hardly spoken about. And I try to be as transparent as possible on this journey. And as I've always said, this is my story. This is my story. I'm tailoring this story to my own situation. And I want people who are following me and who are inspired by me to pick one thing or the other, from my own page and create their own story. Anything that is beneficial to anybody from this page. But what I wouldn't want people to do is to kind of replicate what I'm doing. But this part of the journey is the one I've hardly spoken about. Because when we were planning at Japada, as people knew that we just had very little time to plan Japada. And, the moment I decided that I was going to relocate to Nigeria, in fact, it was actually this time last year, I remember. It was actually this time last year I did my first video. About this time last year, I think towards the end of the year, last year, that I did my first video that I was relocating to Nigeria. So that was when the Japada plan actually started. And we had very little time to start to put things in place. And I think 8 months out the line, we're already on our way to Lagos. So we practically had like 6, 7 months to plan Japada. And we had series of meetings, as a family. We sat down, we talked about this, we looked at the pros and cons of this decision making, and then we put it before God in prayer, and every time I would get afraid about this journey, like I don't know if I've said in one of my videos that the Lord just referred me to one of the paintings on the wall that I had then, that said, I think it was the book of Joshua 1:9, that said that do not be afraid, neither be dismayed, for the Lord your God is with you wherever you go. And that was what kind of stuck by me. And that was a theme. That was what I always refer to every time I had that worry. And this part of Japada was what we talked about was we're going to go for initial 3 to 4 months and then try to reunite again in December and reevaluate, like just look at our decision making, see what's working and what's not working. And there is no shame in it. If Nigeria is not working and if Japada is not working, forget the fact that I've started the group, forget the fact that, I'm inspiring a lot of people. Everybody's story is different. I would not even hesitate to carry my bag and come back here, if things were not working for me. And having come back now 3, 4 months down the line and, sat down with the family again and we've been talking in the past 2 days since I came back and I've been observing things. And one thing that stood out straight away was the mental stress that we all felt. There was something that happened consistently in my family, especially since the arrival of my little baby, that unsettled the entire family. Since she arrived, there was an extra strain on the family. Everybody was always agitated. People will shout at each other, like my children will shout at each other rather than speak to one another. When they are trying to do the assignments, the baby is crying. The older ones, when they are trying to do the assignments, the baby is crying. So they were disturbed, their school was being affected. Those were the things I never spoke about before. Their education was being affected. And then me going back to full-time job, my husband too working, we hardly even had that time for those children. And children that you hardly have time to be there for them like you want to, you will start seeing some behavioral issues that you didn't expect or you don't want for them. So there were a lot of things going on, a lot of things going on. And even people have said on my page here that there were times when I actually reacted too harshly, at certain points when I should have been a lot calmer. And it was all down to the stress, the level of stress was so intense. So that was the first thing I noticed straight away, how calm I have become. Like, even the children now, they're not biting each other, they're not shouting at each other, they're a lot calmer. And then the one that I came with, the one that went with me to Nigeria, my son, is a little bit more helpful now. There's that maturity that I've noticed. My two children that are here now, in fact, honestly, just removing the three younger ones and giving them that chance to relax a bit more, they've matured. Especially my first child, she's matured so much. Like, she's now like, when she tells me, oh, mommy, I'm doing this, I've done that, I'm like, I'll just sit and be looking at her like, is this my little baby? So now you are now like doing all of these things. So it makes me happy to see that they've been able to achieve a lot of things when I took away the pressure. I know they were talking about children here, but the children were kind of pressurizing, the needs of those children were pressurizing the family. So when I took them off, that put us at calm. And we that went to Nigeria, honestly, Nigeria can be anything. It can be anything we call it. It can be a nasty government. It can be rough roads. It can be everything you call it. But there's something healing about that country. I am telling you for a fact, this is my own honest experience. I am not sugarcoating anything. I am not being paid by anyone. So I am just sugarcoating. I'm just being 100% real. There is something about this experience. I don't know if it's in the sun, if it's the vitamin D. When I went there, I've heard a lot of people that said when they went to Nigeria, their blood pressure improved. People have been saying that they were on blood pressure medication in the UK. When they got there, they stopped the medication. And I was not on blood pressure medication, but I've had gestational hypertension in my baby. And thankfully, when my childbirth, and I think I've had it for like two of my children out of the five. And when I had, thank God that thankfully my blood pressure came back to normal. But there will always be times when it's spiking, and even I can even feel the stress in my chest. And having gone to Nigeria, I've checked my blood pressure randomly different times, and it's been normal, despite all the waking up at 6:15, taking the children to school, be the only one doing the laundry and the running around and the business. There's been healing, I can tell. I've been able to lose some weight. I've lost a little bit of weight, as people can tell. And I'm not out of breath. Yesterday, myself and my sister went to the shop, and we were walking because we parked somewhere different, and we're walking down to where the shop was. And there's a little bit of hill, not just a hilly place. And as we're climbing the hill, and she was like, I don't normally do this kind of walking. So she was already panting and out of breath. And I was like, how many steps have you taken now that you're already breathing like this? And I was there just feeling good and just climbing. And that made me feel good. Like, there's a lot of healing has taken place. My son, for example, had a lot of dry skin around his knuckle here. And the skin was so dry that it was almost flaky. They would give us cream, we would apply cream, it won't work, it was almost, I always call him crocodile skin because that's what it felt like. It was almost scaly. And when we went to Nigeria, we didn't do anything to the hand and it healed by itself. So I'm thinking maybe it might be vitamin D deficiency that was actually causing that. Because I know that, they say black people's skin, the melanin prevents us absorbing enough vitamin D from the sun in this country. Like, there's no sufficient sun in the UK to supply the vitamin D that we need. So that could be the reason. But since being in the sunshine and, I just, we do, my husband was the one that even noticed it today and said, look at your skin has gone back to normal. And that's another, fantastic thing. So, and aside from that, the children are enjoying themselves. At the moment we walked through the door, we came in, my son was like, oh, this house is so tiny. So I said to him, was it not the house we were living in before you went to Nigeria? So what do you mean by this house is so tiny? So he was like, oh, this house is so tiny. Oh, we don't even have enough space. I said, well, abroad houses, that's how they build them. They're always very tiny. So, you know, but we thank God because it's been a very pleasant 4 months, almost four, is it 4 months, yeah, in Nigeria. And immediately we miss Nigeria. I miss my business. Like, I miss that routine of going to shop and all the banters. It's just 2 days. It's just been 2 days, and I'm already missing that routine. My little baby is still struggling to settle because of that space. The way she runs in the shop, and the space she has at home to run around, she doesn't have that here. And the fact that it's very long before it gets bright in the morning, like they wake up 6:30 because their body system is used to waking up that early, and they are looking outside the window and it's still dark, so they have to force themselves to go back to sleep, and they are struggling with that at the moment. And look at right now, my daughter would say she wants to go out to play. The moment she steps outside, she's running back in because it's so cold. So all those things, are the things that they are not really coping with well with at the moment. But I've been out and about, I've spoken to people. I went to the market today. One woman was even asking me, "Oh, where have you been?" Because I always go there regularly, so she didn't see me. So I was telling her that, "Oh, I've been to Africa. I've been to Nigeria for 4 months." She was like, "Oh, what are you doing there?" I told her about my shop and the plan for eventually starting a charity and all that. So she was so happy to speak to me. And all the little polite thank yous and little um please that we get. To be honest, we hardly get thank yous in Nigeria. Like in Nigeria, you are driving and you've waited, you've stopped for somebody to pass, even though you are the one who should be driving at that particular. Maybe both of you want to pass one particular way. Nigeria would almost want to squeeze each other. They want to like pass that place at the same time. But when you are being the bigger person and you are waiting for that person to pass, they will just pass and look at you like this and continue driving. This was one of the things that frustrated me in Lagos, and that happened many times. In fact, the day that one lady actually said thank you when I stopped for her to pass, it was a breath of fresh air. I was like, oh, this person must be an abroadian. This one will not be somebody who lives here naturally, because they don't. It's not somebody that will live here normally, because they don't say thank you. They don't acknowledge to say, oh, thank you. You just the first stop for me to pass. They will just look at you and carry on driving. Some even give you a nasty look. It was refreshing coming back to this society where people are a little bit more polite. You do something nice, they acknowledge it. And another thing that really unsettled me was when I had to drive yesterday, and I noticed that the car here is a little bit softer. The steering was softer, the pedals are a little bit softer. So I feel like I'm like a little bit heavy footed on it. I'm like, my feet felt so heavy on it, and it will always move. The car will always jump forward like that. And it took me a while to get used to that soft drive again. Because my car in Nigeria is now, I know that it's a little bit, the steering is tougher, it's harder, and the pedals are a little bit harder. So I felt that was soft, but until I drove this one again, and then getting used to that side of the road again. Like I try to go to places that I'm familiar with, so that I don't go and drive on the wrong side of the road. So that's another issue. So when you are going forth and back, like I intend to do, those are the kind of things you struggle with. What side of the road do I still drive on, all those kind of things. So it feels so great. I'm so grateful to God to be back celebrating Christmas here with family. So happy with everybody following us on this journey. Apologies to people who are coming to. People have been telling me, "Oh, Mr. Akomolafe, I will come and see you this Christmas. I'm coming home this Christmas," and I'll just laugh. I told a couple of people that I won't be around, but for those people who are saying, "I will come and see you this Christmas, I'll come and see you at your shop," I am so sorry. I'm not there at this moment. The shop is open or is running. We have people running it. Don't forget that I'm co-working. My brother and I were partners. So he is there with the sales girl. They are running the store. So if you want to buy anything, please feel free to go there and patronize us. But you will not be seeing Mrs. Akomolafe this period, because I am presently in the UK. So Nigeria has been a blessing to us. Nigeria, I would not say anything bad about Nigeria. I know that it's got to struggles. I know that Nigeria has its own challenges, and may God deliver us in that country, and may God heal that land. But I can tell you for a fact, I am so happy that I went home. I am so happy that I'm making this decision now, because I am here now and I'm evaluating, I'm looking at everybody. In fact, my son who lives here normally, you can tell straight away that he can't wait for us to carry her bag back, because when the baby started crying, I was like, but he's trying to, like, because I told him she has to get to know you because she's young. So you have to play with her, bond with her. And that's part of the reason why I'm here. Yeah, so Nigeria is, I would say this Japada is a blessing. I am glad that God gave me the grace and the health to go to Nigeria and have my footprint there. I think if I have to leave it to when I'm older, I think that I'll be losing out on a lot of things. I think it will be me not fulfilling my dreams if my children never went through that country at all, and they've just grown up like Rhoda and David, my two first children, who are already grown now, and they don't even want to go there. They just want to carry on doing what they are doing here. I think I'll be so sad if they never went through that country. And my son, for him to say, "I'd like to go back to Nigeria," because I told him before we left, I said to him, he didn't want to come at first. So I said, "Okay, let's go and try it. If you don't like it, when we come back in December, you have your clothes here already. Just stay back." You don't need to come back with me because I definitely will be going back with the other two children. But I'm so surprised when he came back and told me that, Mommy, I'm going back with you to Nigeria. I like it there. So I felt happy in myself that we are doing something good. He's doing well at school. You know, the school, everybody's embracing him well. There's no issue. I just give God the glory. Everything is running smoothly. We are starting to get known in our business. You know, we have our footprint in Nigeria now. We are mingling with the local people. We've settled down. We are as local as everybody else. You know, so if I were to do this again, I would definitely do it over and over again. My husband is so happy that we are back, but he's also so happy that now we have our footprint in Nigeria. So nobody will be telling me what's not now. I've lived there now for 4 months. I know what's happening there. And I know that it's not even enough to actually know what is happening there. But I just thank God for our region. And I thank God, I pray for Nigeria that Nigeria will find that peace, because I'm praying that now for because of the other regions as well. I want that country as a whole to know peace. Because if Nigeria gets to that point where there is no drama, like all these crimes and all these things happening there stops, I am telling you, majority of our brothers will return home. I am telling you that fact. I see my colleagues here that are working here, and they call me, and the things they say to me, it doesn't make me miss anything. You know, my nursing colleagues, they call me all the time. You know, the ones that went into work. Me, I finished and I didn't practice. But the ones that went into work, I see them and like they are a shadow of themselves. The way they look, your health is deteriorating for you to get that money. You are sacrificing your well-being, your mental well-being, your physical well-being to get that money. You know, nursing is a fantastic career. They are saving lives, they are doing that. But sometimes you need to look after your own self. Sometimes you need to care for your own mental health. You need to think about your own sanity. If I did not leave when I left, I probably would be heading for a mental health institution by now. We said that today in my family, and I'm not lying. That's the truth. If I did not carry my bag at that time and said I'm going to Nigeria, I would probably be heading for the mental health house, the mad house. I'll probably be heading there. Maybe they would have been giving me injection by now. But I give God the glory for His grace that Nigeria was healing to me. My body healed from all the stress, you know, and I eat all the local food. I eat normal. I try to cut away carbs as well. Too much carbs. I don't eat too much carbs. And yeah, so thank you guys for following us on this journey. We are in the UK. We are celebrating Christmas here. Follow us. I'm going to be good. In fact, since I came in, I've been running after my goods. I've been thinking about my market. People have sent me so many things. I need this, help me get this, help me get that. You know, so I'll see the ones I can get. The ones that will be guaranteed are those who have paid. If you paid me to go and look for the thing, then I can source after that thing for you. Guaranteed you will get it. If you did not pay me and I'm the one using my money to go and source for it, it's 50-50. Oh. It is 50-50 because, you know, I'm not going to go and be tying down cash on something, one thing that is very expensive, and then you come back and tell me you don't want it again. So it's whatever I can. When I know that, okay, if you don't buy it, somebody else will buy it. That's the one I can get, you know, for sure. So thank you so much, everybody, for following us on this journey. Japadians in the UK, hello. In our groups, hello. I'm back here in this corner where I used to shout at everybody. I don't even shout anymore. I don't have the strength. Now I'm just taking one day at a time. You know, I'm taking things cool. No shouting, no hassle. Everybody's happy. So thank you so much, guys. And I'll catch you on the next video. Bye-bye.
Yeah. Let's go. I need designer.